Welcome to the Business Advice Podcast, where we discuss marketing, money, and other matters with businessmen around Australia.
Very nice to meet you, Monty. I've heard good things about you.
Thank you very much, David. No, it's lovely to be here. Thank you.
All right. Ready to get down to it, Adam, whenever you're ready?
This is Monty. How long have I known you, Monty? Over 15 years?
I think it was 2004 or 2005.
Maybe. Yeah, around then, yeah.
Wow.
And you're a property manager or management rights.
I had management rights. I was an on-site manager at a mixed accommodation property. We had holiday rentals and permanents, and you were renting there from, I think, one of the owners directly.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we started talking property and finance lending and a few other things, and next thing you know, we were chatting about everything under the sun, and we struck up a bit of a friendship.
And here we are.
That's what Adam does.
So there's a little bit of history there, eh, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I remember my first memory is you yelling at me when I brought my VG Valiant, my 1971 VG Valiant. You're like, what the fuck are you bringing that in here? Where's that going to go?
But let me tell you, that was off the back. There was another tenant in Unit 15 who just brought his old 1969 old Mercedes up from Brisbane, and he had that sitting in the driveway, and it never shifted. And then you turn up in yours, and I'm thinking, here we go, we're putting together a junkyard. Funny, eh?
It's too funny.
And Adam, I need to tell you, if you look at my driveway now, I've got another two old heaps of junk.
The irony.
Yeah. Funny
That's
as, right?
Yeah, I've seen pics of your Beamer. Is it a Beamer?
The little red one? Yeah, that's the latest project, little red Beamer. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got the classic yellow lights, and I think it's a
convertible. It's a Targa. So it's got a Targa roof and a cabrio. So you can either just take the roof off and take the hard roof, the cabrio top bit, or you can have the top on and the back down and the back up and the top off. There was a limited run made by a company called Bauer, B-A-U-R, in Germany. And they only made, there was a limited number, 580 or something, right-hand drive ones. And I managed to secure one of those, and we've brought it back to life. And yeah, it's a real gem. It's a beautiful little car it's just a fun car to drive.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's only been on the road about a month now.
Oh, right.
But still, yeah, no, it's been in the panel shop, and it's got engine work done and brake work, and it's done. Everything's been done to it, but still got heaps more to do. So, but I've been driving it around, and it's just a bag of fun to drive. It's such a zippy little car.
Yeah, no, it looks cool. I've only seen it online, but yeah, it's really cool.
I'll pick that one day and we'll go for a spin, mate.
Excellent. Sounds good. David, who's doing the intro?
Do you want to do the intro since you're longtime friends?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, so Monty is well, it's not fair just to say real estate agent. He is the real estate agent. Not a real estate agent. Monty is the CEO of Easy Agent. Correct me if I get any of this wrong, Monty. Which is headquartered on the Gold Coast. He has satellite ventures with Easy Agent in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and Adelaide. Is that right? As well?
In South Australia, yep. Cloud-based business.
Sure.
Agents in all 4 states.
Yep. With agents connected to all of those satellite cities. Under Monty's
Correct.
guidance and leadership, the team has sold thousands of homes over the past 18 or so years, and performing exceptionally regardless of various market conditions. Before moving into real estate in around 2002, Monty was a mechanical engineer for about 10 years. He credits the success of Easy Agent to the culture of learning and growth as an engineer, and his commitment to innovation and, I would say, attention to detail has placed him in the top agent mastermind of real estate in Australia. When he's not coaching or speaking, Monty is enjoying time with his family, playing music, or training for his next IRONMAN triathlon. I didn't know exactly about that, Monty. So I knew you had done it, but I didn't. Yeah, so we need to dig into that a bit more. And originally from Cairns.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Just south of Cairns. Yep. Little town, 600 people.
Wow.
Farms, sugar cane, that's it.
Right. Brilliant. Is all of that bio, have I got that right? I stole that from your LinkedIn. So is there anything
Yeah.
that
Look,
it's on point?
it's fun where life takes us, and there's been a few. I've had numerous jobs and everything under the sun. I've worked out west on drill rigs and worked as a jackaroo and used to drive dozers for a living and
Really?
done a bit of everything, mate. So yeah.
Wow.
And so as far as engineering goes, I make a pretty good real estate agent.
That's great. So there was you've grown up in a small country town, far north Queensland, and then tell us a little bit about the journey from there to becoming an engineer.
I think I credit a lot of this, well, all of it, to be honest, to my dad, who was a big believer in education. And so not very academically inclined. I kind of struggled through school, but I got passing grades on everything. And I did a math science course because Dad was like, do the hardest course you can take on and see how you get by. And, I'd struggle through my homework and everything every night, and because I'm dumb as ditch, but, we got through. And I got into engineering at Rockhampton. I went to Rocky because I was a pretty keen bike rider. That was my sport of choice, to be a cyclist. And Rockhampton was famous for the Tucker boys, Kenrick Tucker, Russell and Byron. Kenrick was a famous track sprinter for Australia at Commonwealth Games and at the Olympics, gold medal winner and all the rest. So yeah, I went to Rockhampton, to the uni at Rocky, so I could race and train under the guidance of the Tucker brothers and further my cycling career. That was the plan, and that went pretty well. Got through engineering and went straight into architecture after that, believe it or not.
Oh,
So
wow.
went back to Cairns and worked for an architectural firm. We did all the government jobs. So we did the Cairns International Airport and the Green
Wow.
Island Resort and all of that stuff, which was really good. And I love the design aspect.
There's a correlation between engineering and architecture, obviously, but they're very, as a career, that's a very different thing, at least to my understanding.
It is completely different pathways, but yes, there is a correlation. Engineering is a lot more specific about, making sure that you design things that are actually going to stand up and not collapse under load. So there's that aspect, where else the architectural side is more about the aesthetics and making things look the right way, and what specifications, and what do we put up, what's the client's understanding, the client's brief, and blah blah blah. And so it was good to have experience in the architectural side, which came back to help me when I got back in engineering, because I actually had a number of architects used to ring me up and say, how do we do this, and how do you build that, and how do we join this together? And so it was a nice little segue in the engineering side to be able to give positive feedback and help architects understand how things were actually built, so-called in the real world, because a lot of them were ideology on paper that
They look
changed.
pretty.
Yeah, and it changed quite a bit by the time we went through the process. Yeah, and one classic example of this was after. So I worked with a company in Brisbane that did a lot of the steel work for Homebush Stadium in Sydney for the Olympics, and so all the interchange terminals at Homebush, so all the bus drop-offs and all the terminals there, we did all of that as a project. But then that led to the same company securing a major international client to do bus shelters in all the capital cities around the world. It was a massive project. And what happened was the architectural firm that this company used was based in London. And this was around the Sydney Olympics, so 2000s. Now, keep in mind, the internet only really kicked off in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
So, email and all the rest, and this was we saw the very first incarnation of Google, which was nothing like everyone sees today. But so this architectural firm in London would just email us over some sketches of what they wanted these bus shelters to look like, and we'd get them off, we'd print them off the email, and I kid you not, they were just something like, we would sit down and just do a freehand sketch, or your daughter would sketch something out. It was just so abstract. And from that we had to scale it out, produce workshop drawings and finished proper plans to get approved by the architects, which would then get approved by the client. We would then generate workshop drawings for the floor and go ahead and produce these bus shelters en masse. And when I say en masse, they went into Brisbane, Sydney, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Auckland, and they just went everywhere, all through Europe. Like when we started with this client, the initial project, the turnover was about 1.7 million, I think, for the first year. The second year we did 32 million, and it kept growing from there. It was insane. So we had 2 standard designs that went all around the world, and it's quite interesting now because I'll travel to Singapore, and we were there last year, and you go around town, and I'd be there with my mate, and I go, see the bus shelter? That's mine. You travel around Asia and you go, oh, look, there's one of mine. And that's the nice side of it, because the architects basically gave us free rein to produce something that looked somewhat like their little freehand sketch. And I found that side of engineering absolutely, I loved it. We were there opening up the workshop at 5:30 for the boys on the floor, and literally our last B double rolled out of the factory at midnight. So I'd be shutting the gates just straight after he left, like literally 10 past 12 midnight, and I'd ride my little push bike home. then I'd come back and do it all again the next day. And yeah,
What
that
a
was
life.
it's a great day, great time actually. It was yeah, really enjoyable. We had 400 guys on the floor working their ass off on rotational shifts, and it was really good.
Right.
And that's what led to my real estate career.
Right. Okay.
So
Well,
I
I can
was
see the connection. Like, I can see, I mean, I can see the connection between architecture and engineering, and I can see the connection between architecture and real estate. But yeah, what's the segue?
Look, it's called burnout. We worked massive hours, and I literally, yeah, I was after years and years of that, I was burnt out. So I, in the meantime, I actually built up a portfolio of properties all around the Bayside area of Brisbane, which I sold them all and bought the management rights up the coast, and literally with the objective to go surfing. I wanted to be in the surf by 10 o'clock every day, which I was.
Right.
So
How did you
that,
know that was your way out of burnout?
I know, look, I know you're an expert on this side of it, David.
I'm very curious about how you figured it out.
Look, to be honest, all I knew, I got to a point like there wasn't a lot of information and education and resources around like there is today on the internet.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really, there was no one actually guiding me or anything. All I knew was this, David, that the day had passed that where I got up in the morning and I'd jump out of bed and go, yep, can't wait to get to work.
Right. Right.
And when I didn't want to go to work, when I felt I don't want to do this anymore, and I lost that passion for what I was doing, I knew there was something wrong in my life and I needed to fix something.
Yeah.
Because the work, interestingly enough, the work was still the same. It was, you know, we were getting new clients with new projects, new challenges, interesting work, but I wasn't getting the buzz out of it that I
the
had
fulfillment.
previously. And I thought, you know what, something's not right here. So I just figured in my, I was going to say uneducated way, because I'm not
Right.
psychologist or psychiatrist,
But intuitive.
but I just went, you know what, Mont, you need to take a break from this. And so yeah, I bought the management rights to a holiday resort, and I actually found I looked for the most mismanaged rundown business I could find, because to me that meant opportunity and growth.
Wow. But hold up a second. Not everyone who wants to invest capital would think like that, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but some people like shiny things if they're going to spend a bunch of money on it.
Yeah, David, you're 100% right. Most people want to buy a business that's clicking over beautifully. It's a well-oiled machine. They can step into the driver's seat and just hold the rudder straight and keep making the money.
Yeah.
I saw it a bit differently and went, I want to recognize some capital growth, some blue sky, some profit. I did that successfully with the houses that I bought around Bayside, and I managed to buy in just before 1999 when Brisbane came out of its 10-year slumber and the first big property spike kicked in. After a big long 10 or 12-year layoff. So 99, 2000, 2001, the property market went nutso in Brisbane.
Wow.
And I was lucky to get in on 3 properties and ride the wave. And tripled my money on
Right.
the first purchase. Yeah, tripled it in 2 years. So that was nice. And you just need, I think everyone deserves a little win somewhere in their life to give them a foot up. And to be honest, that first property that went a bit nutso on me allowed me that financial freedom to roll the dice and back myself and go into buy this, holiday resort. And it's funny, my then partner actually said to me, she said, Mont, you're an engineer. You have no people skills. What are you doing buying a business that has to deal with the public?
Good question, though.
Yeah, but my response to her was quite simple. I went, you know what? If it's not for me, I'll just sell it again. Simple as that. I'll just sell it.
Right.
It's an asset. I bought it cheap enough that, if I was going to take a bath on it, the bath wasn't going to be too bad. It wasn't going to be too severe. It's not like I'm losing hundreds and hundreds.
It's a calculated risk.
Yeah. So I just went, I'm prepared to take a bath, 20, 30, 40 grand if I need to. But if I do get it right, like I did, I double my money.
Right.
So, yeah, so it's, again, and I know, Adam, you want to talk about entrepreneurial mindset and things like this. It is a calculated risk, David, but I don't know. There's no guarantees, there's no assurity, but there was something there that I felt, and just a gut feeling. When I looked at it, I went, I can do something with this.
Right.
You just have to back yourself.
Yeah.
That's all I did. I didn't have the skills. I've never run, a rent roll or a property management business in my life. But I was just winging it, and I worked it out. You work it out as you go.
Yeah.
So,
What was it like, that shift? You jumped from a 9 to 5, well, actually, probably longer, way longer than 9 to 5, to 10 past 12, to suddenly you can go out on the waves at 10 every morning.
The freedom was liberating, to be honest. It was. I felt I could breathe again.
Right.
And honestly, the opportunity was. I felt like everywhere I looked, I could see opportunity, business opportunities, lifestyle opportunities. It was. It made me excited to be alive again.
Right.
And I genuinely believe that everyone walking on this planet should experience that feeling at least once in their life.
Wow.
It's because it's exciting.
How about the fear? How about the instability that so many people, it holds them back from escaping that corporate 9 to 5?
Right. Let me say, I was kind of pushed in a way into this situation, all right? So let me reveal a little bit of this.
Oh, juicy.
This is something that I don't talk to a lot of people about. And here's you guys, and Adam, you're going to drop this in front of, thousands of people. Thanks very much. But look, and the reason I bring it up, the reason I'll talk about it is that I can guarantee you there's people listening to your podcast, Adam, that would sit there and go, oh, wow, that was me. I've been in exactly that position. And when you're in this position, when you're placed or confronted with that situation, you've got two choices. You can go A or B. There is no C, D, E. There's two choices. You either suck it up, buttercup, and keep doing what you're doing, or you take a step back and you go, no, I'm not going to compromise on my principles and values. Thanks very much. I'm going to leave the business that I'm working for, and I don't know what I'm going to do, but something will eventuate or come to fruition somehow by hook or by crook.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be the master of my own destiny. So I was working in engineering, and a little bit of backstory. So I was working with this company, and every month we were called in to the, you do a monthly review on the profits and everything, and every month we were in the red, regardless of how much revenue we brought in, how many new clients, there was mismanagement in regards to one sector of the business. And we bring this to the boss's attention, to the owners. We said, look, you need to address this. The boss didn't want to, because it was quite confrontational for whatever personal reasons. I won't go into all that. But keep in mind, I'm actually personal friends with my then boss. We still have coffee on the regular still today. We're good friends now. But back then, yeah, he was the boss. I was employee. I suggested to him, I said, look, if you don't want to deal with this, get an in-between person. So I suggested he appoint a general manager to the company. So the general manager reports to him. The general manager does all the HR side and, keeps everyone in line. So I recruited a guy that I've been advocating for. The guy comes in. The first person to get a written warning, it was me. So,
Wait, how?
so the general manager that I got into that position, wrote me up.
Just to show there's no favoritism.
So by the time I got my second disobedience notice from the same general manager,
same day, or do you wait one more day?
No. How bad do you think I am? No, but I went up and I was talking to the boss, and the boss goes, "What are we going to do with you?" Anyway, I said, I just said to the boss, "Are you seriously going to entertain this bullshit? Like, you can see what's going on, anyway." And the owner said, "Look, he's the GM. I got to back my guy." I said, "That's fine." So I went back to my desk and I wrote a resignation letter, and I went back to my boss. I went, "Here's my resignation." So I had nothing on the horizon. I didn't have another job to go to. I had 4 mortgages to pay at the time. I couldn't really afford to be unemployed. And but that's what I'm saying. I was pushed into my own taking stock of my own future. And within 2 months, I sourced a business that I found stable, that the banks liked and the banks would lend on. And I made it happen. And I transitioned, to the holiday enclave of Cloundra, beachside, views of the beach and the white water. It was absolutely lovely, wasn't it, Adam? The views of the beach.
Yep. Yeah, magic spot.
It was a magic spot, and just walk down to the Thai restaurant down the front, or the surf club, or it was an absolute gem of a lifestyle location. It was fantastic.
Can I ask, what made you shift from residential to commercial property? Or like you were looking, you made your first, you tripled your first investment in residential, right?
Correct. Look, I went into the commercial side because there was a business attached to it, and this
Right.
particular business was poorly run.
Right. So there's cash flow potential as well.
Huge cash flow potential, absolutely,
Right.
yeah. And so that was what attracted me to this particular business. And then what happened thereafter was I was giving some thought to the whole process of how I ended up buying into this business. And the person, the agent, the broker that I purchased off, the feedback I got from other people in the industry was like, you know what, she's actually the leading broker in Queensland. And I thought to
Okay.
myself, my experience was not great. And if she's the leading broker in Queensland, I
Okay.
can do this. I can do this.
The
I can
gear is
yeah,
always turning.
yeah, I can give this a good old shake up.
So you actually
So,
saw how bad someone was,
correct.
and then that sparked your interest. Okay.
Yeah. So
Awesome. Yeah.
that's what I did. So, um, so being green, you know, I got my real estate license again, no training, nothing. I just was running purely on adrenaline and passion.
How far
And
along had this been by that time? Like from your quitting your job to buying the resort?
so quitting the job to buying the resort would have been in total 4 months.
Wow. Okay.
And then it would have been within 6 months I started real estate. And
Not even 1 year, guys. Not
yeah,
even 1 year.
straight into it, you know. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was a little bit manic, and it was interesting because the first resort I sold was actually a good friend of mine who had a resort up in Cairns, and I sold that for, and keep in mind that the year was 2003,
Mhm.
and I sold it for 3.6 million. So my first paycheck, my first commission paycheck for someone in real estate that had no idea what he was doing, my first paycheck was $160,000.
With Wait, so how quick was that after you've gotten your license? So that was like 10 months, right, from from resignation, and then
And it was within the first year of being at
wow.
in the resort, yeah. And it was a bit bizarre. It was I did, like, in my first 12 months of real estate, I did just over 25 million in sales.
Wait.
And that's, like I said, and these are the prices back in 2003. This isn't, you know, so it was
Right,
good.
right.
And yeah, I don't know, Adam, you
Wow.
remember that little black Golf GDI that I used to drive around in?
Yep.
That was my little real estate car. And so that little black thing, I think I put 200,000 Ks on that thing in a few years. I
Wow.
drove it into the ground.
Well, it is far north Queensland, so
So yeah, no, it was good. So
yeah. What do you
and
think
still,
was what do you think was driving you? Pun.
uh,
But what was fueling you? Was it the excitement, or was it the passion, or was it sink or swim? What was it for you?
David, you'll probably psychoanalyze all of this side of it, but
Not for
to
free.
be honest,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. To be honest, in reflection now, in all, as raw emotionally as I can be about it, I believe I felt I had a lot to prove, both to myself and to my peers, and especially the fact that bouncing out of an employment situation where you get written up twice, 2 notices of,
Yeah.
you know, and I thought, you know, I'm not going to swear on here, but if we were talking in person, I'd say a few words. But, you know, I just
We
thought,
can
you
use our
know,
imagination. Yeah.
yeah, I thought, you know, stuff you guys.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I can do.
Right.
And yeah, I think that was one of the big drivers.
Mm.
But like I think that was the initial driver.
Right. That was a spark. Yeah.
And then what happens is you get involved in the process, you understand, you see how you're changing people's lives, because
Right.
there's other people buying these businesses and transitioning in their lives, improving their lifestyle and everything.
Mm.
And then I was getting a buzz off that.
So
So
double
the
the
more
buzz.
people,
Yeah.
so the more people I could help,
Mm.
like, I was just getting a kick out of all of it, the whole process. And
Right.
and then there's people that I was selling their business
Mm.
and their management rights and their resorts, and then they would upgrade. So they were selling out of a resort that may be 25, 30 units, beachfront area, and then they're buying into something that's got 50, 60, 80 units or 100,
Wow.
and then so helping them with this process was really, really satisfying.
Right.
It was good.
And what do you think set you apart from other people who are doing those things far longer than you, and from probably studying more in line with that as opposed to mechanical engineering?
Yeah, I don't look. I get very passionate about whatever I take on. I get really, really involved with it, and it's
Mm.
I'm the type of personality that it's all or nothing. So
Right.
if you have me, if you're my client, if you appoint me as your agent or your broker, you don't get a little bit of me, you get all of it. And I'm all in, and I will, shift heaven and earth to make sure that you get what we're working towards. And that's just who I am. You can't change that. I think people say, "Oh, leopards can change their spots." Well, you know what? I am who I am, and it doesn't matter what business I end up in or what. And I think you're the same, Adam. You're so passionate with what you do. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're, running a coffee shop or running a charity or running helping whoever you're there with, whatever line of business you're in, you're all in, mate. Your boots and all, and you're passionate, and you're driving it, and you're working. You're living and breathing it 24 hours a day, and that's what I'm like. That's what Adam's like. David, I'm sure you know people
Nah,
like
I'm a
this.
bit lazier, but yeah, close enough.
But I just think, if you're passionate about something, it comes through, and people, it's infectious. Like, people
Yeah,
want to
absolutely.
be around that.
Yeah.
And I'm still like that today in different areas. So
I love that. And it's so interesting because it's intriguing, really, how burnout was one of the things that pushed you to make this drastic life change. But now that you're throwing yourself fully into multiple ventures, just because you're investing more time and effort and you're like full in, you're not burning out.
yeah, and I'm getting a buzz out of different things in different areas now as well. And it's I've got some amazing, really good people around me in my friendship circle. I've got some fantastic people around me in my business associations, and the support that comes back from these people.
Right.
It's just, it's hard to describe, but again, I think anyone who's in business for themselves, it's hard enough as it is, keeping the business rolling with the changing economy and all the other challenges. Through COVID, we had this, supply chain issues. We had, we've had a roller coaster of a venture this last 10 years, to be honest. But everyone in business needs a really good support network. And
that's good.
From what I see, not everyone's got it. And whether they're too scared to reach out to someone, or whether they don't know who to turn to, I don't know. But here in our little town of Ormo, I've created the Ormo Business Alliance exactly for that reason, for the guys.
Right.
And, we've got 26, 27 members now.
Wow.
And it's not big numbers, but each
But
of
that's
these
better.
people,
It's because it's a small,
they're all,
there's closer relationships.
it is. It's a tight little community, and
Mm.
you know, there's guys in our little business alliance group who are also, you know, in the clique and have close relationship with other business owners outside our little group, and
Mhm.
they're helping and supporting them as well equally. And
Right.
so I think it's a bit like the pay it forward, you know, process, and
Yeah.
we all do our little bit, you know.
Can I ask, how did you find your tribe?
You mean how did they find me? I don't know.
Oh, okay, they found you. Okay, must be the classes then.
I don't know. You know what? It's funny. I think life's a bit. You know, David, you and I meet here today on the chat, and you probably, you know, Adam's probably told you a few things about me, and he said, oh, you know, Mont's okay, you know, so you take his word for it, but you don't
Right.
really know who I am. So
Right.
we've got to have our conversations before you understand who I am, before I understand who
Right.
you are, before you start to trust me
Yeah.
and set that. And I think once I've done, you know, once you do a little bit in a community and people start recognizing the work that you do, you know, it might be,
Right.
you know, I've sold some
Reputation.
houses and people go, oh, you know,
Yeah.
he's a good agent and he's whatever, or whatever it may be, you're right. And then people start feeling comfortable
Mm.
approaching you, and then they start trusting you, and then they
Right.
start actually turning to you for advice and other things. And that's pretty much what's happened here. And,
Right.
you know, not everyone that you that you meet, not everyone that you come across is going to be part of your tribe.
Yeah.
And I think that comes
Yeah.
back to your core values of,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, transparency and honesty, and not everyone that smiles at you can trust. You know, some people are literally snakes in the grass, and they
Mm.
just they'll be friends with you as long as there's something in it for them.
Right.
You know, I'm just saying there are those types of people
Yeah,
out there.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure we've all met them.
Yeah, and you know what, David, the thing is, being a bit of an old dog, like, you know, I'm 55 now, and I've had a few radios, and you kind of pick up on a few signs pretty early
Yeah.
in the relationship side.
Yeah.
And as soon as I see a couple of those red flags pop up, I just, you know, I'll just let that friendship, you know, it'll just cool off in its own at its own rate.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty cautious, you know. And then, you know, you've got the other guys who are like true salt of the earth, genuine, honest, nothing to hide, just top people.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm talking male and female. We've got some really, really good people in this group. And
Yeah.
they're people that you could ring at, you know, 10 o'clock at night and go, dude, I need help with this. Have you got so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Can I
Right.
come along? And they're like, sure, bro, you know, just knock the door
Yeah.
when you get here.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
Friend in need. Yeah.
yeah. And, you know, they're business owners. They've got their own business to run. They've got their own families. They've got all their own stuff going on. But they'll open the door and say, yeah, mate, you know, we'll help you. What do you need?
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
wonderful. Really
They're worth
nice.
their weight in gold.
Oh, because they're so rare to come across and to find in a little suburb like Ormo, to find a handful that we've got. And I mean, we've got, you know, I can count 10, 15 of these people in my group that are like that. And I think that's really, really special.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. So
Really is.
shifting the focus more to yourself again,
Yeah.
we need to talk about friends, right? You have your fingers in a few pies. What are you focusing your efforts on at the moment for growth?
I'm my main driver for growth is community involvement.
Okay.
And because there's some businesses out there doing a lot tougher than others. I'm running a couple of voluntary community projects to help these businesses get more eyes on what they do. And that side of it's been quite enjoyable. I actually love doing all the videos and all the stuff like that, the interviews.
Right.
And hearing their stories. It's just like you're asking, you're interviewing me
Right.
today about, Mont, tell me how you did this and how did you end up, blah, blah, blah. And this is the same stories that I get my business owners to tell on how did they end up in Ormo? Because they come from all parts of Australia and New Zealand. And somehow they all end up in Ormo. So everyone's got a story. And it's really interesting, and I love hearing it.
Okay. And is this on a consultation basis? Like, how are you helping them?
Look, the main thing is getting people, raising the locals' awareness that there is a particular type of business here, based here in the same town that they live. So if they're looking for, a supplier of that particular product or service, how about you try these local guys first?
Right.
So that's we've been pushing that side of it quite strongly, and like we've started a local business directory that was non-existent, and it's
Brilliant.
with the aim of that becoming the first port of call for a lot of the locals to jump online and grab the phone number rather than going to Google and then ending up at a business that's 20 kilometres away. So there's that, and then we obviously invite them to be part of our business alliance, which we do training and mentor strategies to help them grow businesses, and that's drawing on I started my first business while I was at the architects, so I was 18, 19 when I started my first business, and that was
oh wow, clothing line. Oh, how do we not talk about this?
It's a funny story, but I'll tell you if you got time.
Yeah, go on. You can't start with that and not tell us a story.
So look, I was training in the gym with all the guys that were bodybuilders, and I was in
Adam was there.
Bench pressing his 110 kilos. So, well, a good mate of mine, he was right into the bodybuilding big time, and he used to fly to LA every year.
Do actual shows.
And go out to, used to go out to Palm Springs and stay with ex-Mr. Olympia, Frank Zane.
Frank Zane. I love Frank.
Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
So he was there with Frank Zane, and then the two of them would go back to Gold's Gym at Venice and train with Arnie and all those boys.
Wow.
What's his name? There's a Robbie Cole and a few of the others, all those guys. Anyway, it was, I think Platzy was coming onto the scene at the time as well. Big Tom Platz with his quads.
Yeah.
But so the long story short was, my mate, there was a clothing line called Better Bodies, and that was one of the bodybuilders there used to train at Goals, created this Better Bodies line. Anyway, so my mate Harry, he was talking to him. Long story short, he goes, "Hey, you can be the Australasian distributor."
Okay.
So I remember Harry ringing me from a payphone on a street corner in LA, going, "Should I do this?" And my answer was, yes. We had no idea what it meant or how we're going to do it. I just went, "Yep, do it."
So you're just a yes man. You're the hype man.
Well, my theory in life is you always say, yes, I can do that. And then you work out how you're going to do it after.
Yes, I agree. That's me. Oh, I love that. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's, you get yourself in a bit of hot water, but it's good fun. You know, it's like,
Mm.
oh, I'm in the deep end of the pool. I've got to work out how to swim.
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Now you have to figure it out, and you will.
Yeah, exactly. There's no plan B. That's it. Your plan A. That's it. It has to work. So,
Sounds like the refrain for your life. Every cross section or like every crossroads has been, yes, let's do it, and then we'll figure it out.
completely. Hey, I applied to drive a dozer out west, and I'd never driven one before. He goes, "Can you drive?" I went, "Yeah, I can do that."
Yeah.
So,
Tomorrow.
yeah, so it was. I went out to Taroom from the Gold Coast, drove my car all the way out there, and did the induction on a really old. It was a dresser from 1950. There's a very, very old machine. They don't make dressers anymore. They're actually got bought out by Case IH. But anyway, I did that. I went from that straight into the equivalent of a D9, and but it was a Komatsu. It was a 375 Komatsu, big horsepower, and yeah, it was good old days. And the next thing you know, I had 2 years of dozer experience under my belt, and could drive everything. It was quite again, you just go, yeah, I can do that, and then you just got to back yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
but
That's
the range was interesting. So we got the better bodies range of gym wear, but they were all singlets and shirts and muscle shirt. So what we didn't have was pants. And back then, you might remember the music guy, MC Hammer, had the big puffy pants.
Yeah.
So I had a brain spark, and I went, you know what, I'm going to make some MC Hammer pants for the bodybuilders.
Oh, okay.
And I went to the local where you buy all the material from and have a dash section, and I bought the most hilarious, brightest patterns that they had, and I just bought the whole roll of each of them. And I then went and sat there create a pattern and cut up. I know nothing about sewing.
Yeah.
We made our own pattern, and then I got someone to sew them up, and we had a few trials. No, they didn't fit right. We adjusted the pattern. So we ended up working out how to make these pants. And we had the local ladies in Cairns making them. But then we had to sell them. And here's a lesson for every budding entrepreneur out there.
It's going to be good. I can sense it coming. Go on.
Look, I don't mind telling you it's embarrassing as it is, but it's what you have to learn by your mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we had to sell these things, and there was no internet, there was nothing around, and we couldn't afford to put ads in bodybuilding magazines. So I got an old suitcase that I went out to Dad's, and I grabbed an old vinyl suitcase. We put all the samples in it, all the different colours and all the different sizes and everything in the suitcase. Threw it in the back of my old Ford panel van that I had at the time. And I drove from Cairns to the Gold Coast, stopped at every town, and went to every health and nutrition shop in each town, all the way down the coast. And said, just walked in, cold called with a suitcase and went, are you interested in some bodybuilding clothing?
So you're a door-to-door salesman of bodybuilding MC Hammer pants. We have our title.
Wow.
So but here comes the kicker. So I end up back in Cairns, and I've got miles and miles of orders. Believe it or not, I sold something to every single shop along the. I think the only one that didn't place an order was a health food shop in Gladstone. Everywhere else, Mackay, Rocky, Yeppoon, out at the beach from Rocky, Townsville, what's the little place? Bowen, south of Townsville. Like every little, 2-dog town, everyone bought something. So and I just wrote it all down. Anyway, so we get home and I say to my mate Harry, I went, all right, we've got to pack all this stuff up and send it, which we did. And then they sent us the money. And then we're doing the sums, adding up how much money we made, because we're all excited. We sold out. This was awesome. And we made a loss. We couldn't work out why. And we sat there and we redid the sums and we did it again and we added up and could not work out why. And then it dawned on me one day, I forgot to add in freight on the price. So we took all the orders and we posted it at cost at retail. We didn't put any freight on it. Because I was a dumbass. I had no experience.
There goes the profit margin. It goes right back into postage.
We lost money on it all. It was funny. Like, we laugh about it afterwards. But what a lesson! Like you gotta think this stuff through. You can't just do what we did. We just jumped in and went nutso and had no idea what we did.
That's hilarious that you nailed the hardest part. Actually, the two hardest parts, which was R&D and sales and marketing.
That's why I don't work in accounts.
That's why you have an accountant now.
My wife's an accountant.
Oh, perfect. That's why.
Funny, eh?
Wow. Brilliant.
Crazy times, but it was good. And, of course, we didn't factor in all the fuel I spent driving the V8 panel.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
The Gold Coast and back.
Yeah.
But yeah, down the Gold Coast and, being a complete tight ass like I am, I didn't pay for motels. I just slept in the back of the panel van.
Of course. and you were young, right?
Yeah, you do what you do,
Yeah.
And I remember it was quite hot because it was summer, and you couldn't sleep in the van because it was no air. So
yeah, no.
I was sleeping under the van, and then security comes along and gives us the move on, orders. You can't loiter here. You got to. So I moved twice one night, and Anyway, it's good.
I never knew they were so vigilant up there.
This was on the Gold Coast. I think there was so many people, so many bums moving to the Gold Coast.
Gotcha.
And they didn't know I was a legitimate businessman.
Yeah. They didn't know who they were shooing.
Anyway.
That is so good. So good. Okay, that segues us into the final segment. Everyone's dying to hear from you, obviously. You've got so many more stories to share, but if we were to titrate everything you've learned, what would be the top 1 or 2 pieces of advice you would give to young men in business?
I think there's 2 things that stand out to me, and I'm very adamant about this. One, the first one, and I know, David, you know what I'm going to say, but it's you have to say yes first and then work it out afterwards. Like you have to back yourself. If you're in business, it doesn't matter what type of business. If a customer says, "Can you do this for me?" You've got to go, "You know what, I can.
Yeah.
I'll work out how to do it afterwards, but I can do that. I can take care of that for you." To me, that's if you have a can-do attitude, you stand a far higher chance of being successful. You don't want to be, if you're the type of personality, if you're the type of person who finds a problem for every solution, don't ever get in business. Now, I can tell you another story about a person like that, a friend of mine, but I won't. Yeah. That's for another day.
Okay.
And the second bit of advice is learn to delegate.
Okay.
Don't micromanage.
Right.
That's actually been a big hindrance for myself.
Yeah. Why not? Being a devil's advocate, why not micromanage?
It stifles growth.
Okay.
Big time. in the startup phase and in the infancy phase of business, you can micromanage and control all areas of the business for sure. But if you want to scale the business, if you want it to grow, you need to learn to let go. And that's the hard, because remember, that's your baby. You started this from nothing. You grew it. It's your baby. And the hard, and that's a real mindset that, you know what, if you can't let go of it, then you're going to be stuck in that infancy stage forever.
Absolutely. That's so good.
And you'll become a slave to your business rather than the business working for you.
That's really good. Yeah. Because far too many founders I've met and talked to as well, it's like they're holding on to just the idea that it is their baby. And for ego or for whatever it is, sentiment, but that's not business. And so you're absolutely right.
And on the same token, or on a similar note, I see a lot of fellow entrepreneur-minded individuals who venture into the business space, and they're dead certain that their business is going to look like ABC, even though for years the market's not working for them, and they should pivot and become EFG. They don't. They stick with ABC, and they just struggle, and nothing. At some point you need to stop and go, if it's not working for you, if the market's asking for something different, you remember, we just got to give the market what it needs or what it wants, rather than be steadfast in our egotistical mindset of, oh, no, my idea is better, even though the market doesn't need it or want it. You can have you'll be a lonely person stuck with the best idea that nobody wants. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a few things there which I think
that's so good
for budding business people need to be mindful, and just put your ego aside and just listen to where the market's going to take you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So good. So it's to,
David, I hate orange glasses, but I tell you what, the market love them.
by market you mean the wife. That's the biggest market.
Funny, mate, funny. Yeah.
That is so good. Thank you so much, Monty, for your time. Man, learning so much. The stories that you haven't even told yet.
Next time, we got more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I know we've run over time well and truly, so my apologies, but thank you for bearing with me. And don't see, this is the problem. You get me started talking about stuff. Here we are.
No, it's our fault. Absolutely. It's Adam's fault. We'll just blame on him.
Sorry, Adam. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
It's so good to hear. And there's some stuff that I heard tonight that I've never heard in, or in all the years. So really great to hear this story, Monty. And I think it's the aim of this is to collect stories to inspire and educate young blokes in business. So there's just a bunch of gems in there that the young blokes will appreciate. So thanks for sharing that.
Hey, Adam, I know you're a very, very talented muso, and I say that because I've heard you, and I know you are. I'm the other end of the spectrum. You know that, right? I'm a complete hack. However, again, that didn't stop me playing in, 3 or 4 different bands and having gigs all over the place. What? David, it was so bad, they took the microphone off me because I can't sing in tune. So I was the only band member without a microphone.
Okay, that makes sense. You're the backup singer.
Tell you, and I'll leave you with this one very briefly. When I met my wife, we were on our first date. We were talking about certain things. We both went to the same university, right? And she did business, she did accounting, and she was in charge of their. It was like the entertainment side of their faculty, right? And anyway, they booked a band to play at their end of year, the piss up, the breakup thing. And she said, oh, it was out at, this pub, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, we did a gig at that pub once. I said, I can't remember. I said, we're pretty bad. And she said, yeah, the band we booked was pretty bad.
Oh, no.
So it was us. She booked our band.
Way.
Yes, one day. And I didn't even know her then. I didn't even know who she was.
Wait, well, how did she not recognize you?
Because I had long black curly hair then. And
No way.
that's why I was a little bit different. Oh, and it was a mohawk too. Anyway. So it was what she fondly describes as screamo music. So
All right.
Adam, I refer to it as, short, fast, loud, the story. And yeah, she said, they were dreadful. I said, no, we were great. No, we weren't. We were great. But, yeah, there you go. First date. And then it was like, yeah.
Love it. That's a reputation maker.
And then she married me. She must be crazy.
Yeah. Must be the glasses.
It must be something. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the
Thank
chat.
you.
And I look forward to doing it again shortly.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Likewise. Thank you so
That's
much.
great. Thanks, David. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Monty.
Thanks, Monty. Take care.
Take care. Cheers, guys.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Business Advice Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.